These bottles and scattered capsules represent the reality for HIV patients in the mid-90s, a grueling daily regimen. In 1996, the drug ritonavir changed that reality. It turned a death sentence into a manageable condition, even though it required patients to swallow up to 20 pills every day, dissolved in approximately 30 minutes, the exact window needed for the body to absorb the medicine. For 2 years and 240 consecutive lots, the drug never failed. But during a routine check, an analyst found a capsule that wouldn't break down. Instead of dissolving, the medicine had turned into a cloudy, thick paste. Under a microscope, that paste revealed a terrifying transformation. It was filled with millions of tiny needles, sharp crystals no one had ever seen before. Abbott immediately triggered an emergency shutdown, destroyed the batch, and deep cleaned the entire line. Yet the very next day, the results were the same. The capsules continued to turn white and cloudy. The researchers were stumped. They were using the exact same chemical recipe and the same temperatures they had used for 2 years. But their life-saving medicine was suddenly breaking, transforming from a cure into an unabsorbable crystal. To save the supply, Abbott attempted to outrun the problem. They shifted production to a clean alternative factory in Italy, hoping a fresh environment would produce stable pills. Scientists meticulously verified every variable in Italy. They matched pressure, the exact humidity, and chemical weights were a perfect match for the Chicago process. At first, it worked. The Italian pills passed every test. Then, just weeks after the Chicago team visited the site, the Italian factory called with bad news. Without any gradual trend or warning, their tablets began to fail. This map shows the failure appearing in Italy shortly after the Chicago team's visit. It behaved like a disease, infecting the new factory despite the lack of any obvious physical contaminant. Laboratory tests only deepened the mystery. When researchers analyzed the useless new crystals, the data confirmed they were 100% pure ritonavir. The scientists had reached a logical dead end. The ingredients were correct, yet the version of the drug the body could actually use had effectively ceased to exist, replaced by a physical form that made the medicine useless. To understand how a drug can change its nature, we go back 170 years to Paris. Here, the brilliant but hot-tempered chemist Justus von Liebig was about to start a scientific war. Liebig was reading a paper by Friedrich Wöhler, claiming the discovery of a new beige powder. Liebig was incensed because he believed Wöhler was making a rookie mistake. Wöhler's paper listed the exact elemental recipe of his powder: 1 silver, 1 carbon, 1 nitrogen, and 1 oxygen atom. Liebig was outraged because he had just discovered a compound with those exact same 4 ingredients, yet its physical properties were nothing like what Wöhler described. Wöhler's compound was completely stable. When exposed to direct heat, it remained inert, barely changing color under the flame. But Liebig's compound, despite having the same ingredients, was dangerously volatile. It would detonate in a violent flash the second a flame got close. These two substances shared a single elemental recipe, but behaved in completely opposite ways. At the time, this paradox defied everything scientists understood about how matter was constructed. The two chemists eventually met in Frankfurt to settle the dispute. By replicating their work side by side, they realized both of them were right. Their discovery changed chemistry. They realized a compound's identity is determined by 2 factors: its atomic ingredients and the physical arrangement of those atoms. As these atoms snap together into different structures, they create isomers, same parts, different layout. This layout is what dictates whether a substance is a stable powder or a dangerous explosive. This explains why the 1998 crisis appeared to spread like a disease. Once a more stable crystal form, a polymorph, is created, it acts as a seed. Any other ritonavir molecule that touches that seed, or even a microscopic trace of it on a researcher's suit, will snap into that same useless shape. Today, scientists use light and electric fields to map these invisible architectures. By tugging on the bonds between atoms, they can see exactly how a molecule is holding itself together. But even with this technology, we cannot predict when a molecule will decide to flip. We don't know which drug will be next, or when a stable medicine might spontaneously rearrange into a form we can't use. It is a sobering reality of chemistry. Because of this invisible architecture, the life-saving medicines we depend on today could, theoretically, rearrange themselves and fail us tomorrow. Scientists at Abbott Laboratories opened up a batch of their life-saving HIV medication, ritonavir, and found a disaster. Instead of the usual medication, they were staring at tubes full of a useless white paste. They assumed the drug's chemical structure had broken down. To prove it, they ran a sample of the paste through a spectrometer, expecting the data to show a completely different substance. But the machine told them the paste was chemically identical to the working drug. A spectrometer tests molecules by hitting them with infrared light. Think of a chemical bond like a boat on the ocean. Small, rapid waves or slow rolling tides won't do much. But when a wave is exactly the right size, that boat gets tossed around. Every chemical bond reacts strongly to a very specific frequency of light. This graph shows those specific reactions as a series of peaks, acting as a unique fingerprint for a molecule. And when Abbott looked at the readout for their ruined paste, it had all the exact same peaks as working ritonavir. This meant the paste contained all the correct ingredients, and those ingredients were held together by the exact same bonds. Yet somehow, the medication had completely lost its ability to function. This isn't the first time identical ingredients have produced drastically different results. Early chemists discovered that two materials could be made of the exact same atoms, but behave in radically different ways. Take silver cyanate and silver fulminate. Silver cyanate is highly stable because its carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen are joined by strong double bonds. Silver fulminate uses the exact same atoms, but arranged differently, leaving a very weak connection between the oxygen and nitrogen. That weak single bond is incredibly easy to snap, and when it does, the atoms rapidly rearrange themselves into stable gases, causing a violent explosion. Molecules with the same atoms but different structural arrangements are called isomers. Abbott's team checked for this, but the atomic arrangement of the ritonavir paste hadn't rearranged itself into a new isomer. The chemical ingredients were intact, and their internal geometry was identical. The failure had to be happening on a larger scale, hidden in the invisible physical architecture of the drug itself. The Abbott scientists noticed tiny deviations in their spectrometer data. The individual molecules were the same, but the way they were packed together in their surrounding environment had subtly changed. To understand how packing changes a material, we can look at a common substance, chocolate. If you've left a chocolate bar in a warm car, you know what happens. When it cools down, it never returns to its original state. Instead of a shiny surface and a crisp snap, you get a dull, bendy bar that melts immediately in your hands. The ingredients inside that ruined chocolate haven't changed. The cocoa solids, sugar, and cocoa butter are all still there. But looking closely at the cocoa butter, which is made of Y-shaped fat molecules, reveals the source of the physical change. These Y-shapes lock together into multiple solid crystal geometries. When a molecule stacks into different structures, they're called polymorphs. Dull chocolate is form 4, melting at 27 degrees Celsius. Shiny chocolate is form 5, holding together until 34 degrees. A material's texture, its melting point, and its utility are dictated just as heavily by how its molecules stack together as by the molecules themselves. Chocolatiers fix melted chocolate through tempering. It is a mechanical process of erasing bad crystal structures and carefully selecting the ones you want. First, the chocolate is heated to 50 degrees Celsius, melting all existing crystals. Next, rapid cooling to 27 degrees forces a shotgun blast nucleation, forming a chaotic mix of every crystal form. Then comes the precise selection. By raising the temperature back to exactly 32 degrees, the weaker, unstable crystals melt away. Only the desired Form 5 crystals survive. Finally, the chocolate is rapidly cooled. This permanently locks that surviving Form 5 architecture into place. Because this crystal formation is deeply responsive to heat, an unwanted polymorph shift in chocolate is a completely reversible, controllable problem. The white paste in the Abbott lab was the exact same phenomenon. The written-over molecules had spontaneously restacked themselves into a brand new polymorph, labeled Form 2. Under a microscope, the original, functional Form 1 was a loose crystal arrangement, but this new Form 2 had stacked together into incredibly dense, tight needles. That dense geometry created a massive problem. Form 2 is so incredibly stable that it refuses to dissolve in liquid. In medicine, solubility is everything. If a pill cannot dissolve in the stomach, the human body cannot absorb it. The new physical structure had turned a life-saving medication into an inert rock. The Abbott team tried to fix it. They heated and cooled the Form 2 paste, trying to temper it exactly like chocolate to force the molecules back into Form 1. But the new polymorph was too robust and completely resisted the temperature changes. Chemistry identifies the ingredients, but the physical architecture determines if they can actually reach the bloodstream. For written over, falling into that ultra-stable structural dead end meant the drug could never return to its working form. Inside Abbott's highly controlled manufacturing facilities, a life-saving drug called ritonavir rolled off sterile assembly lines. Engineered perfectly into what chemists call Form 1, millions of these capsules shipped globally, working exactly as intended. Then, without warning, the semi-solid medicine packed inside those capsules began to physically alter itself. It spontaneously hardened into a rigid, completely unusable crystal structure, known as Form 2. Top scientists at Abbott audited their strict manufacturing procedures, looking for an error. They found nothing. Every temperature, every measurement, every ingredient was identical to the day before. The foundation of a multi-billion-dollar supply chain was breaking down at the molecular level, and there was no human error to blame. To isolate the problem, Abbott initiated an emergency response. They gathered a team of scientists from their compromised Chicago facility and flew them across the Atlantic to a plant in Italy, hoping to synthesize a clean, fresh batch of the medicine. They followed the exact same protocols, but the moment the Italian facility produced the newly synthesized medicine, it instantly crystallized into the rigid, unusable Form 2. Within weeks, the original Form 1 drug effectively ceased to exist. Literally no manufacturing facility on Earth could produce it anymore. What began as a localized defect had transformed into a global industrial shutdown. No matter where Abbott tried to produce the drug, the outcome remained the same. To understand why a chemical would suddenly change its shape, we have to look at polymorphism. Chemical compounds naturally seek the lowest, most stable energy state. Imagine two valleys separated by a steep hill. Form 1 sat in the higher valley, wanting to reach the deeper Form 2 valley, but was completely blocked by a massive barrier of activation energy. By the strict laws of thermodynamics, molecules cannot organically climb over that hill to reach the lower state. They require a massive influx of external energy, like intense heat, to make the jump. By every known rule of physics, Form 1 was permanently trapped and safe. And yet, ritonavir was finding a path across that insurmountable hill. There is a historical precedent for elements spontaneously shifting states. 300 years ago in Northern Europe, the pristine metal pipes of cathedral organs suddenly developed dark, spreading lesions that crumbled the structure. The local congregations panicked. Many believed the cracking, rotting metal was an active attack by the devil on the church itself. The scientific reality was a process known as tin pest. Months of extreme, prolonged winter cold forced the stable silver tin to drop its energy state, chemically reorganizing and crumbling into a fragile gray tin. We can force this reaction today using extreme freezing agents. By packing a beaker with dry ice, we can plunge the surrounding temperature to -30 degrees Celsius, triggering that same chemical collapse. Nature clearly has a brutal mechanism for forcing elements into a more stable state when pushed by extreme weather. But Abbott's drug was kept in perfect climate control. It experienced no temperature drops, no extreme stress. The answer lay in a microscopic loophole called a nucleation site. By sheer mathematical bad luck, a single microscopic crystal of Form 2 spontaneously generated on its own. This single seed acts like a chemical contagion. It destroys the protective energy hill entirely, providing a sudden, frictionless shortcut that forces every surrounding molecule to instantly drop down into the stable Form 2 valley. Once that initial transformation happened in the Chicago lab, microscopic Form 2 seed crystals broke off. They became airborne, invisibly attaching themselves to the lab coats and clothing of the scientists. When those highly trained experts flew out to solve the crisis, they acted as unwitting vectors. They walked straight into the Italian facility, shedding the microscopic seed crystals and immediately infecting the new, clean batch. The global production of ritonavir stopped. A single airborne geometric shape was now dictating the molecular structure of every batch it touched. After 5 months of exhaustive, well-funded research, Abbott executives called a press conference. The company had to admit total defeat. Nature had won. Abbott eventually abandoned Form 1 entirely, accepting the financial loss and shifting patients to a less tolerable liquid formulation of the drug. Despite their immense wealth and the collective intellect of their scientists, they could not cure a chemical infection. They simply had to accept reality and learn to survive in a Form 2 world. Over half of all known chemical compounds are polymorphic. Theoretically, any of them could shift at any moment. Even aspirin, one of the oldest and most thoroughly researched drugs on the planet, has a secondary form. It wasn't uncovered through careful design. It was discovered entirely by accident. The modern pharmaceutical industry now treats this as an endemic threat. Companies spend millions of dollars aggressively screening for hidden polymorphs, desperate to prevent another outbreak. We survived the ritonavir crisis because an older liquid backup already existed. If another vital drug vanishes into a new physical shape, we might fall without a safety net to catch us.